Good morning, Senator Harding.
Good morning, Madam President. Thank you. I was elected as a state rep 10 years ago. And every single time I have risen, whether it be in this House chamber, whether it be in the Senate chamber, it has been rising to discuss a policy. Every single time. It was rising to speak on my particular opinion on a bill. The unbelievable, awesome responsibility I was handed by when I was a state rep, 25,000 or so of my constituents, and now as a state senator, 100,000 or so of my constituents. And every time I rose to speak, I rose to speak on policy, on substance, and then ultimately had an opportunity, one way or the other, to cast a yes or no vote on a bill that was in front of us on a board. For the first time in my life as a legislator, that there was a guarantee that a certain senator would get it appointed to PURA if there was a guarantee that that person would vote for that individual, and that the chairwoman would get through the Executive Nominations Committee. So let me say that again. In return for a vote, allegedly, according to this article, a senator was promised an appointment to a PURA board that pays almost $200,000 a year and pads that person's pension. On March 4th, the governor, when asked about this very issue, said, quote, "I had to make an arrangement to get Chairwoman Gillett's nomination through." And appointing this particular senator was part of that arrangement. A senator, mind you, that sits on that Executive Nominations Committee and voted that day as a critical vote that needed to be made to be standing here today for this chairwoman's nomination. And that is not my words, that is the governor's own words at a press conference on March 4th. The Hartford Business Journal, Connecticut Mirror on March 6th, that the governor's office announced plans to appoint this very senator that voted in the committee in return for a job on PURA. Again, not my accusations, reports directly from all of the capital media sources, reputable media sources, newspapers that have been in circulation for centuries in this state, reporters that have been working in this Capitol building for generations in this state, reporting on this. And at that time, all I asked, and all Senate Republicans asked, was let's pause and let's get answers. As I stand here today, and now I'm asked on behalf of my constituents, the 100,000 people that gave me this awesome responsibility to cast a vote on this nomination based upon all those facts that have been alleged by all these reputable media sources, I haven't been given one answer to refute any of that from anyone. And this is all boiling down to what is driving people out of this state. We could be having a substantive conversation about reducing rates, and unfortunately, because of deals that were made by people in power to put well-connected people on the highest regulatory board for electric in the state of Connecticut, we can't even have a substantive conversation about that. And so myself and my Senate Republican colleagues have no choice but to take unprecedented action on what is unprecedented in this building, what is plain-faced right in front of us, as reported by the media. I refuse to stand here and allow my constituents to be complicit in this and to say this is okay. I don't know in what world we have come to where we can stand here and pretend this is even remotely normal, what was done here. Stand up for your constituents. Don't allow them to be complicit in this. This isn't about substance, about the chairwoman. I wish it were. We could have disagreements with that. We could have policy about that. I have voted no on bills that I found to be reprehensible. But I ultimately voted on it because it was policy-based. This comes down to the institution, it comes down to procedure, and it comes down to being honest and forthright with our constituency. And myself and my Senate Republican colleagues will not be complicit in this on the backs of the ratepayer. Enough is enough. Unprecedented action, pretending that it is normal, requires unprecedented response. And we feel this is the only way we can make that occur. It is clear as day. The reports say what they say, allegedly, and the law says what it says. Right in the general statute, it says you cannot offer someone a job for votes. It's right in the general statutes. And it's not my facts, it's the media's facts. And I'm simply repeating what every reputable media source in this state has said occurred here. And so on behalf of my Senate Republican colleagues, I am walking out on this vote. I will not allow my constituents to be complicit in what has occurred here. It is awful.
Senator Slapp.